The Girl Who Collected Sunlight. In the cheerful seaside town of Bright Bay, where the ocean sparkled like a blanket of diamonds and seagulls sang every morning, there lived an 11-year-old girl named Liora. Liora was known for 3 things. She asked big questions. She built unusual inventions. And she was afraid of the dark. Not just a little afraid, very afraid. When night came, shadows on her bedroom wall turned into giants. The creak of the stairs became a monster's footstep. Even the wind tapping her window sounded like someone whispering secrets. "Why does it have to get dark?" she often asked her grandmother. Grandmother Nessa would smile gently and say, "Because even the world needs to rest." But Liora didn't want to rest. She wanted light. The idea that sparked. One afternoon, while walking home from school, Liora noticed how the sun warmed her hands. "What if I could keep some of this?" she wondered aloud. Her best friend, Arun, raised an eyebrow. "Keep the sun?" "Yes," Liora said excitedly. "What if I could collect sunlight during the day and use it at night?" Arun grinned. "That sounds impossible." Liora crossed her arms. "Impossible just means nobody has tried hard enough." That night, instead of hiding under her blanket, she sketched plans by flashlight. She drew jars, mirrors, wires, tiny spinning fans. She labeled her drawing, "The Sunlight Saver, 3000 Trial and Error." The next morning, Liora began her project. She placed glass jars on the roof. Nothing happened. She lined her room with mirrors. Her cat became confused and tried to fight his reflection. She strung Christmas lights across her ceiling. They flickered and popped. Aaron watched it all with amusement. "Maybe the sun doesn't want to be bottled," he teased. Liora frowned but kept working. "I just haven't figured it out yet." Days passed, then weeks. Some experiments smoked. Some experiments failed. One experiment accidentally dyed her hands bright yellow. But Liora kept going. The storm one evening, dark clouds rolled over Bright Bay without warning. A fierce storm crashed onto the town. Lightning flashed, thunder boomed. Then, the power went out. The entire town went black. Children cried, dogs barked, parents searched for candles. Liora's heart began to pound. This was her worst fear. Darkness everywhere. She squeezed her eyes shut. But then she remembered something, her latest invention. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't grand, but it might work. The glow in the shed. Liora ran to the shed in her backyard, rain soaking her hair. Inside sat a strange-looking box made from old solar garden lights, tin foil, and a car battery her father had replaced months ago. She had discovered that solar lights collected energy from the sun during the day, and she had combined many of them into one bigger system. Her hands shook as she flipped the switch. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a soft golden glow filled the shed. It wasn't as bright as daylight, but it was steady, warm, hopeful. "It worked," she whispered. Lighting the way, Arun appeared at the shed door, wide-eyed. "Liora, your house is glowing. Help me carry it," she said quickly. Together they carefully brought the sunlight saver into the street. Neighbors peeked from their porches. "What is that?" Mrs. Dalloway asked. "Sunlight," Liora replied bravely. She set the box in the middle of the street. Its glow spread gently, lighting the sidewalk. People gathered. Soon others brought chairs. Someone began telling stories. Children stopped crying. The darkness didn't feel so scary anymore. It felt peaceful. The storm continued to rumble, but Bright Bay felt safe. Not because the dark had disappeared, but because someone had brought light into it. A new understanding. When the power returned the next morning, everyone cheered. But something had changed in Liora. She realized something important. The dark wasn't her enemy. It had simply been unknown, and she had learned how to face it. Later, Grandmother Nessa sat beside her. "You see," she said gently, "darkness makes us appreciate light." Liora nodded. "And sometimes," she added thoughtfully, "we have to become the light ourselves." The Festival of Glow. A month later, Bright Bay held its first ever Festival of Glow. Children built small solar lanterns. Families decorated the beach with gentle lights. Instead of fearing the night, they celebrated it. At the center of it all stood Liora's improved Sunlight Saver 4000. It was brighter now, stronger, safer. Arun nudged her. "You know," he said, "you were afraid of the dark." Liora smiled. "I still don't love it. But I'm not afraid of it anymore." She looked up at the stars, the thousands of tiny lights shining bravely in endless darkness. Maybe the sky had been collecting sunlight all along. Years later, as Liora grew older, she became an engineer. She designed solar lamps for villages without electricity. She built emergency light systems for storm-prone towns. And whenever someone asked her how it all began, she would smile and say, "I was scared of the dark." Because sometimes our biggest fears point us toward our greatest purpose. And from that day forward, whenever night fell over Bright Bay, it was no longer something to fear. It was simply a canvas for new light. The end. Morals of the story. Fear can lead to growth if we face it bravely. Failure is part of learning and success. Small ideas can make a big difference. Light shines brightest in darkness. Courage doesn't mean not being afraid. It means acting anyway. Use your gifts to help others.